guys? It's Commish Medicis here. I got Ron Kiper Jr. on the line. We're here to talk everything CDNFL. Ron, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening. Welcome to week 6. It's been a fun start to the league, I think, for most people, and we'll get it done.
Hey, we got a bunch of topics here. We're going to hit some topics up. We'll each talk briefly on each topic. Ron's going to go through his first big board, talking about the top 20 prospects for this upcoming draft. And then we're going to talk about our game of the week, and we'll move on to our next show next week. So we're going to start first in the NFC. Ron, who do you have as your biggest surprise so far in the NFC?
I think in the NFC for me, it's the Philadelphia Eagles and Coach Rich. 6-0, 3 division wins already in the bag. In a division like the East, that is very fluid, and your winner is usually going to have 8 to 9 wins. To already have 6 wins in the bag and 3 of them against the division is huge.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are definitely impressive so far. They were kind of the forgotten team in the NFC East. Everyone talked about Sim Point and how he sims all his games, but the real thought was that it was going to be Eric or Gay Andrew that was going to win that division. But clearly, it looks like that's Rich's division, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. My biggest surprise is actually the Green Bay Packers at 3-2. Andre in last year's Madden really struggled, and it's nice to see him get off to a nice start here. It's going to be tough for him to overtake the Vikings right now in the NFC North, but I'm very surprised to see him up at 3-2, and I'm hoping that he makes a playoff run here.
You know, the NFC North, you got Damian at 4-0, and then the Lions, Bears, and Packers all at 3-2. So very competitive.
Absolutely. My biggest disappointment so far in the NFC, I have two actually right now. I can't really pick which one is more disappointing. First one is the St. Louis Rams. Cody, I don't know if he's bowing out or what's going on. If he's playing this game, he's not playing this game, but he's sitting at 1-4. He's normally a playoff team every year. He's a good user. He started 2-0 last season before we had a restart. So I'm very surprised to see him. And obviously the Dallas Cowboys at 1-4. Gay Andrew was the favorite in that division, and he's right now in the basement.
You know, I have to agree with you. I think for Cody, the Nick Foles RG3 trade really set him back. I think he's trying to figure out how that's all going to work. And, you know, Cody has a history of doing bad season 1 and then having an amazing draft and turning it around. So I would not be surprised if that was the case. In terms of Andrew, Andrew should have absolutely been the favorite to run the East. And it's just not happening. And, you know, 1-4, he could still come back for a wild card spot, but he has no shot to win the division.
Let's turn to the AFC, and my biggest surprise is in the AFC East. The Miami Dolphins sit at 3-1 with their only loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars in a very close game. Not many people knew much about Adam, and I think he's really impressed early on, and I think he's going to push to make a run here come playoff time in the AFC.
I would agree. I think the other surprises are your Jacksonville Jaguars, actually. You know, that team has no talent. And with the little talent they do have, there's no depth behind it. So an injury or, you know, even getting players rest during a game it makes it really tough. So hats off to you and the Jaguars.
My biggest disappointment so far, and I love saying this, is the New England Patriots. Josh is sitting at 1-3. Granted, he has been AP'd a couple of times, but it doesn't matter. He's sitting at 1-3 right now, and he's got the tough Miami Dolphins in his division. It's going to be tough for him to make up all those games. Uh, I don't really know what's going on with him. Smoking the pot is always around. He's always lurking in the chat box, and he's just kind of missing right now. So he's by far my biggest disappointment. And I'm not gonna lie, I love seeing the Patriots at 1-3 and in last place.
You know, Josh is Josh, and he'll rally from it. My actual biggest disappointment is Javi. You know, every year I pick Javi to at least go to the playoffs and not make, if not make a win or two, but to get to the Super Bowl. And Javi just seems like I'm not sure he knows exactly what to do with this team this year. You know, we played.
There's a there's a lot of talent on that Raiders team. I think he's gonna be fine. I really have no doubt about that. Um, it is surprising to see him struggling so much right now. And I mean, you got to realize that Javi lost to the Bears after they lost 73 to nothing. They turned around and beat the Oakland Raiders, who, for many, thought that they could make a run in the AFC. So that's that's a big win for the Bears, but a very disappointing loss for the Oakland Raiders.
Definitely, definitely. You know, Cooper. I think he's got to get Amari Cooper a little more involved, and he's got to figure out a way to get Latavius Murray his touches and get 3, 4 yards, but also get those ones that are 7, 8, 9 yards. You know, the gashers.
Yeah, Javi's been known to have a solid run game, and then first and second draft he picks up some 6'4", 98 speed stud that's unstoppable. So you already have Cooper on one side. He gets that wide receiver this next draft. He's got a stud running back. Carr's turning out to be a solid quarterback. A good offensive line. That team is ready to make a run, and it's nice. It is nice to see somebody win games with the Raiders. For years, we had Joe who just babbled about shit but never did anything with the Raiders, and always talked about how he was going to do this, he was going to do that, and he could never do anything with the Raiders. So it's nice to see a user come in and be able to win some games with the Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely. The Raiders are a still proud franchise. A lot of tradition, a lot of fandom. So they're a team that needs to win.
All right, our next one, I'm gonna let you talk first on this. Is our play calling. It's something that I wanted to talk about briefly. What's your thoughts on the play calling so far? Have you ran into any problems? How's everything been going?
Have I ran into any problems? Well, the 73-0 loss to Seattle definitely stings. You know, we are a sim league, and you want to run read option 5, 6 times a game, especially with the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Fine, but there's no reason for you to be running triple option 7, 8 times a game and doing banana routes with a running back that you shouldn't even have on your roster. But that's neither here nor there. And leaving your starters in when you're up 56-0 or going for it on fourth down. You know, that person knows who he is, and I think he's taken everything that we've said since then to heart. Uh, but that was a brutal game, and not a game I ever want to relive.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I don't mind when people run the same stuff throughout the game. It's just doing it over and over and over and over. It's just overkill. If I want to watch the same play over and over, I'll go turn on a game and then hit rewind on the remote, or I'll just go and play a lobby game or draft champions. The whole point of this league is we're all a bunch of people that enjoy playing the game but don't want to play against scumbags that just do the same play. Not saying that anybody's doing that because I haven't encountered anyone that's done that, but I think that's just uh, something that you expect when you're in a sim league.
I just think and I think most people who play me can attest to it. I do for myself. I do run a lot of the same route combos and some of the same type of running back runs, either shotgun or whatever. But I do a good job of mixing everything up. Going 5 wide sets, changing my sets up, and you know scheming it the right way.
Yeah, I
So
think I think we ran into this in the PS4 league that we just started. One of the users came in and talked about, if you're going to play cover three, I'm going to run the exact same route. I'm going to run the exact same play because it works every time against zone. Well, you know what? That defeats the whole purpose of the league. You're trying to, you got a playbook with 200 plays, 300 plays in it, and you're running 5. What's the point? So, I mean, we've allowed custom playbooks, so you should be able to mix it up. Find your money plays and run them and mix them up and play football. The whole point of the game is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be challenging. And when I play against you, it's supposed to be a chess match. If you do this, I want to counter and do this. That's going to force you to do this. So, to me, that's the whole point of the league, but it is what it is.
Looking at you, Rich.
Wow, that's our first call out. Also, hashtag Rich ain't shit. All right,
Glad to see that's still alive and well.
Rich ain't shit never's gonna die. The first time he loses, it's gonna be all over GroupMe. And it's probably gonna come from the computer.
Yeah, maybe.
One of the things that we thought was important to talk about is the activity level. Madden's been extremely frustrating so far this year. We've had a restart. We had to wait 2 weeks. There was a patch. The rookies are too fast. There was a big discussion about normal speed, slow speed. Just lot of issues this so far this year. Then FIFA came out, NHL came out, NBA came out, and everybody wants to play other games, but at the same time, let's make this Madden League fun again. I feel like our excitement levels kind of died down with all the BS that we had to deal with. Our first file was corrupt, and there's just so many issues so far. But it is what it is. We got our Madden League going. We're in week 6. Let's get our games played. Let's get in GroupMe. Let's talk shit. Let's have fun. We've always been a league that's moved quickly and talked a lot of shit and had a lot of fun. And I feel like there's too many unplayed games and simmed games. So we need to step it up a little bit. It's an hour every couple of days. It's not asking too much. How last year we were already into season 2. So that's how far behind we are. So I think that's my big push right now is we got to get our activity level up. We got to get guys playing Madden. And if you want to play other games after, that's fine. But an hour is not too much to spare. And if it is, then you probably shouldn't be in the league.
I agree with you. I mean, we didn't have the issues that launched with last year's Madden that we've had this year where we've had to wait for multiple patches, or we finally get it going and then you have the week 2 freeze up. NHL comes out, NBA comes out, FIFA comes out, and then pretty soon we'll have Halo 5 and Fallout and Star Wars. It's important for everyone to remember that, get your games in so that way you can do whatever else you want to do. And, we'll continue to keep that activity level up, Um,
Yeah,
it's very, very easy. So
at this point, that's all we can ask is, even if you can't schedule the game, like let's say you can't schedule the game and one of you goes on AP, at least the game's being played. Me and Chad had to sim our last game. It wasn't for lack of effort, it's just our schedules didn't match up. He had a busy day on Saturday, I had a busy day on Friday, so it just didn't work out. But there's other times where people aren't even scheduling, they're not responding. It's just let's get this stuff situated, let's move forward. At this point, we're 5 weeks in. We're into week 6. We've had 2 games played so far. There's a couple people that stand out fantasy wise as your star player so far. Ron, who's your fantasy star so far this year?
I got to look at Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback for the Vikings, a 120 passer rating, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, little over 1,000 yards. When you got Adrian Peterson as a running back, you don't need to do too much, but you do need to be able to keep defenses honest, and that's a really, really good start for the Purple People Eaters.
Yeah, for me, there's 2 people on the offensive side of the ball that really stand out. The first one was a guy that was traded uh, and kind of written off in Buffalo. EJ Manuel's got a second life right now in Philadelphia. He's been absolutely tearing it up. He's thrown for almost 1,700 yards with 17 touchdowns, and he's only thrown 6 picks. Everyone knows Rich likes to throw the ball. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to score a lot of points. He's going to run some read options. but nobody expected the start that's been going on in Philadelphia. And you can tell by the real Philadelphia Eagles that what Rich is doing is really impressive so far this year. I don't expect many people. I don't expect this to stop. I expect EJ to continue to put up big numbers, and I expect Rich to win that division.
See,
My
I think it can stop. You gotta hit EJ Manuel hard. You gotta blitz and knock him to the ground a couple times and get him rattled, and then he'll start missing some throws, and that's when you can exploit it.
No, I agree. And that's anybody. If you get to the quarterback, they have trouble throwing it. You're gonna win more times than not. The only other person I saw that really stood out, on the offensive side is Marshawn Lynch. Rushed for almost 700 yards so far. He's got the main guy in the two-headed monster in Seattle. I know Ron knows all about that, but Marshawn Lynch, he's a beast. We know that. And from the looks of things so far, this Seattle owner is pretty good, um, which is surprising because he's friends with LaPointe, so he must be a douchebag. But we won't go there. My only other person that stands out right now is Dante Fowler. He's got 8.5 sacks already on the year. He's the rookie defensive end for the Jaguars. He has been unblockable so far this year. Jaguars have been up early and forcing people to throw a lot, and our pass rush has gotten to the quarterback a bunch. So Dante Fowler right now is leading the league in sacks, and it's not even close. So I'm hoping he stays healthy and is able to continue playing as well as he is. But we'll see what happens. Do you have anyone else that
Absolutely.
stands out?
Not really. I mean, I think you said everybody. Marshawn, Dante Fowler, like I said, Teddy. You know, it's those are the top guys. So it is not a big surprise at all. Um, so
Let's remind everybody that the draft deadline is, or the trade deadline is week 9. So we got 3 weeks left of trading. Remember, user to user trades. You got to send them to me just so I can mark down and keep track of everything for everybody. And anything that goes to the computer needs to be approved by the trade committee, and then you can try it on the game. I know I had a trade for Martavius Bryant that got approved by the trade committee, and the Steelers said, "Fuck you." There's no chance we're trading him. So it's good to see that trading's harder on the game and hard to get some of these better guys, which will be nice to keep these computer teams the way they are as much as possible. All right.
absolutely.
At this time, Ron, I'll give you the floor. You got the draft. You are our draft guru. You are the Ron Kiper Jr. I give you the floor, and let's hear about this upcoming draft.
I'm going to start off tonight with our number one prospect, Ross Preston, quarterback from Wisconsin. He operates out of the spread. He's 6'2", 222 pounds, and just a monster. Another Russell Wilson type of player. Um, I really feel he's the number one overall player, and he should be the number one pick in the draft. Nobody comes close. When I look down this draft board, we got a lot of different players. The problem is with this draft, it's not very deep, and it's not very talent friendly. So, to give you guys just a little example, and I'm sure some of you have already scouted a little bit, the person Madden lists as the number 2 prospect is Rashawn Cunningham, a wide receiver. He has a first round grade on him. But after uncovering his unlockables, you'll find out that he's only a low round 2, so end of the second round. So, there's not a ton of talent. The number 2 prospect, I feel, is Drew Martin, defensive tackle from LSU. And I think, when you were looking at these draft classes, you're really going to have to look deep, see what other talent is out there. I think you could see some teams trade out of the first round or trade back to acquire more picks just because the talent level isn't where it normally is. I would not be surprised to see a couple teams make that move. Because honestly, most of the talent is graded as mid first round, and obviously we don't have combine scores yet. But as I'm going through this, one of my other most intriguing prospects is Jamie Golden from Florida, cornerback. He's 6'2", 212 pounds, which is abnormally large for a corner. Um, you know, he's rated as a mid first round grade. Man coverage is a B plus, zone coverage is a B, and press is a C plus. So I think he's going to be a player that maybe a Darrell Revis type where you could put him out there and he can have his own little island going and take away part of the field with his size and athleticism. It'd be really interesting to see what he can do. And vice versa, the other one I really like on defense is a pair of linebackers from Nebraska and Chioke Ballard from Texas A&M, both outside linebackers, both the same height, 6'1" and about 230 pounds, and they're beasts. They're able to attack and they're able to cover. So there's going to be a lot of. I think this is going to be a more defensive draft. So if you have defensive holes, linebacker, corner, safety, that's where you're going to go. Obviously, if you end up like with the number one pick, like Eric in Washington, um, I think you go with the quarterback. I think you go with the quarterback from Wisconsin, Ross Preston. And it's not a knock on Eric. Eric doesn't have a lot of the talent, and it's starting to show. Nick Foles is a pile of hot garbage. And when you can't hit your throws consistently, you see what happens. I think the other contender for the number one pick, you got a couple teams, user teams, so uh, you know, there's always sim point. I mean, if he ends up simming half of his games, he could be in the number one pick race too. So, um, with that being said, uh, number one prospect right now is Ross Preston. My number two is Drew Martin. My number three is the corner from Florida, Jamie Golden. My number four is the two linebackers, 4 and 5, um, Eugene Wade and Chloke Ballard. And my number six and the last prospect I'm going to talk about is another cornerback from Georgia. He's 6'0", 181, which is normal size for a corner. He's got a little bit better press and man coverage than the kid from Florida, but he's lacking a little bit in zone coverage. So I think he's a great corner. I think, like I said, it's a defensive draft. So this is where you're going to plug your defensive holes. This is where you're going to build your defense. So if you're a team like the Chicago Bears or like the Washington Redskins who need some help on both sides of the ball, I think you could see a team like the Bears who end up drafting probably mid first round really target some defensive help and look to rebuild the offense through free agency.
It looks like this draft is pretty loaded in the defensive end. It'll be interesting to see what shapes out. I mean, we're only in week 5, week 6 right now, and once the combine hits, shit's gonna hit the fan. So, thanks, Ron, for the expertise on the upcoming draft. It's the last part of our show. We got 5 minutes left. We're each going to pick a game of the week and talk about that briefly and then give our pick for that game and the other person's game of the week. So, Ron, I'll let you go first with the NFC game of the week.
NFC game of the week is definitely going to be the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears. Both teams come into the matchup 3-2, and there's a little bit of bad blood. Spaeth isn't too happy with some of the things I have said in parties. And I haven't meant any disrespect. It's just been poking fun. But Spaeth feels like he's got to prove himself since he is made of glass. Um, it should be an interesting matchup, especially with Damian being 4-0. And the winner of this game is really going to have the inside track to challenge Damian, being 4-2. Um, so definitely going to be an interesting game. A lot on the line. In some cases, someone's pride on the line. But we'll see what happens.
Nice. The AFC game of the week this week, the Miami Dolphins traveling to Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. Straight Andrew has brought Adam into our league, and now 2, 3, and 1 teams match up to see really a chance to distance themselves in the AFC with a win if it's the Dolphins, and a chance to keep up in the tough AFC South, being the Tennessee Titans. We're really looking to see if Adam's for real. He played a great game early on against me in week 2. Be interesting to see if he can continue it. He beat up on Eric in week 1. Definitely the game of the week in the AFC. So I'll let you go first, Ron. Game of the week, NFC. Who wins the game? What's the score?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I think it's going to be 31-27, Bears over the Lions.
I have a tie game with 2 minutes left after Ron scores a touchdown. Ron kicks off deep, hits off Spate's helmet, bounces around 3 times for a safety. I have the Lions losing to the Bears 28-24. AFC, Dolphins and Titans. Early clash to see if Adam's for real. Who you got?
I like the way the Dolphins have played so far this season. So, I don't know too much about our Houston Texans owner other than he does use DeAndre Hopkins a lot, as he should. DeAndre's a beast. But
Titans.
I'm going with the Dolphins in a low-scoring affair.
Titans. Marcus Mariota.
I thought you said Texans.
No, Titans.
Dolphins over the Titans, 28-14.
All right. See, when I look at this game, I look at it as a real chance for Adam to step up and kind of show that he's, I guess, a playoff contender and a threat to win the AFC. However, I know Andrew. He's been around for a while. He's a very good user. He knows how to use running quarterbacks. See the last 4 years of the TGL. I'm going the Titans, and I'm actually going big. I'm going Titans 34, Dolphins 14.
Wow. Giving Andrew a little too much respect there.
You got to earn respect around here. This isn't Ole Miss. This isn't college football. I look at the Dolphins like the Georgia Bulldogs, and they're about to get their ass kicked by Alabama. Sorry, Cody.
Man, that was an ugly game.
Yeah, they suck. But
real quick, we got about 2 minutes left, so just want to say thank you to everyone for helping make everything that making this league great again. We'll get the activity level where we need it to be, but it's nice to be back in the flow with everything.
yeah, it's definitely nice to be back in the flow. Madden. We have a lot of fun. It gets me through my workday looking down at my phone and saying, "Oh shit, LaPointe's alive again. Let me talk to him before he disappears for another week." So it's nice to talk to him for about 3 to 5 minutes that he's around.
My favorite is when we start in on Rich. Rich ain't shit.
Isn't that Rich's last name? Ain't shit.
I thought it was eat shit.
It could be. Depends on what way you look at it. Or if you're talking about eating, let's talk about gay Andrew because he's screwed and he's gay.
It's okay though. He'll just go smoke a bowl and he'll be good.
All right, before we go, let's give a shout out to Space for for surviving the hurricane. I know it was tough. It rained a lot in West Virginia and to our animals and goats. It's tough. I'm glad Space survived the hurricane. It's good to see him on Madden. Hopefully he doesn't quit because Ron's going to upset him this week.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all the time we got for today. This was our first show. We probably fucked up a lot, but we're just trying to do something different to get this activity up. If you want to join in on the show, be a part of the next one, let us know. We definitely can make it work with 3 people, or if you want to come in as a guest, we can do an interview or something, but we want this league activity back up. So we'll do whatever we can to get everybody back on board. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to try to do this as much as we can. I can't guarantee it's going to be every week, but we'd like to do it at least once a real week. So good luck to everyone in these upcoming games. Make sure you get your scheduled games done, and we'll see you later.